doing the mental work as a spiritual. Now, the spirituals that I know have told me stories of they used to have runaway minds. They used to have runaway minds until they understood that they didn't have to. Because as a spiritual person, you are ultimately your spiritual self primarily. Now, as a mental person, I don't understand how this works, but for a spiritual person, their mind is a translator. It's a way to communicate, it's a way to understand things, but it's not who they are. It's a tool that we have as a human. And so if they allow themselves to have a connected mind, it's very useful in understanding and taking apart the messages so that they know the actions they need to take. But they don't need to sit there. And a spiritual person is most capable of having a quiet mind if they're ultimately have their mental body connected and trust in their spiritual body as well. And they are most able to have a completely silent mind in a way that none of the other types would ever understand, because that's not who they are primarily. If they have wounding in their mind and if they have runaway thoughts and they can't shut their mind up, it's because they don't have an avenue for it. They don't have an understanding of its purpose, and they haven't been listening to the messages guided by spirit of what they're to be doing. The spiritual pieces for the mental body include things like journaling, include things like talking things out and getting it out of your system, because that mental energy is the work that they're here to do and here to hold, but it's not who they are. And once they can get it out and they do the thing they need to do, it's gone. It's released, and they can come back to the channel of who they are as a spiritual and emotional being. And so the challenges are ultimately to help them understand how the rest of humans operate and how the rest of the humans communicate. And when they learn how to do that and they learn how to release the information so they can come back to self, then they have a tool, again, just as the physical, they have a tool that they can use to share. They have a tool that they can use to analyze and be logical and linear, but they also don't have to make that their beingness. And so the mental work asked as a spiritual type is about putting the pieces together and then allowing them to be released, because what you're here to do is to be a spiritual person in a physical and mental and emotional reality. And so that's challenging for people. And if you are a spiritual person who's been told you either weren't smart or you didn't know things or you couldn't figure it out, you may be disassociated, but you have to remember that you're guided by something unlike anybody else. You are guided by spirit and intuition, and spirit knows more than we could ever know. Spirit knows what's coming in a way we don't know. And your deep trust in that, and your deep trust in the action steps, the mental and physical action steps, are going to help you use those as amplifications. Because this channel is really loud as it is, but the amplifications of the guided by spirit actions and guided by spirit mental understandings you need to communicate what it is you're here to do is going to help those people find you and understand and receive you, especially if their emotions aren't entirely connected. The majority of people out there won't need that. They're just going to feel you. But as you know, we can't sit and meditate in a cave all day. We also have to live a human experience, and the human experience exists with mental, physical, and emotional people. And so that mental body has to stay connected, and you have to trust that it's part of this experience and it's giving you information in pieces. And the trick and the work for the spiritual person is to not overthink it and to get out of your head, because you're not here to be a mental person. You are here to be a spiritual person with messages and beauty to be shared with the world.